Hello everyone, back tuning in to today's second video. So we've already done the spring season model roundup, the first one of those that I've done this season. You can find that video here on the homepage. Just scroll down the page a little bit and it's above the snow desk. There's also the video has been placed on the spring updates and forecast page with a written post that goes with it as well. So we did around 8 long range models to see what they're all showing for the spring of 2018. Bit of a mixed bag, and I'll let you have a look at that and see what you think. This is just the final video for the year, so we always do one last video in the afternoon on New Year's Eve just to round everything up, really, and wish you all a happy new year. So that's what we're going to do for the second video today. You're going to have a look at weather next week to 10 days. We'll also see what's going on in America, some really cold weather over there, and we'll see whether there's any sign of cold weather for us in the next week to 10 days. But before I get on with that, just to say that I've been going through the stats and the page views for Gasworthies this year have come out at a staggering 1,844,144 page views. So, incredible number of page views at website again. In 2017, it's been once again our busiest year on record at the website, and a big thank you to all of you for tuning in over the past year and doing everything that you can to help support the website and the videos. It is very much appreciated, and a big thank you to everybody for doing that during 2017, and let's hope that 2018 is even more successful for Gasworthies. So, before we get on with today's video and start off by having a look at what was going on this day 39 years ago. This is a chart for the 31st of December 1978. It's one of those all-time legendary charts that weather enthusiasts know all about. Incredible blizzard was raging during the new year of 1978-1979, part of that incredibly severe winter of 1978-1979. In fact, the cold was a little bit on and off until the new year. It's really at this point that the cold started to lock in, and then January and February 79 were frequently very cold and very snowy. But you don't see charts like this very often these days. So we've got the jet stream going down into northern France. We've got low pressure running through the channel, 2 distinct low pressures actually. So there's a low pressure there, there's another one there, and between the two there's a very active occluded front that's running through here, bringing pulses of heavy snow, particularly to England and Wales. Snow because we've got this strong easterly wind, this bitterly cold gale force easterly wind blowing in all the way from Russia, and then of course we've got all of this blocking up here, lots of high pressure around Greenland. You can see just how cold it is with that air being plunged down from the Arctic. If you want a blizzard in the winter, that is about as good as it can get. That's the kind of thing you're looking for if you want sort of a couple of feet of snow and big drifts as well, and bitterly cold temperatures. That's the kind of thing you're looking for. These are the upper air temperatures for New Year's Eve 1978. And just look how cold it is across the UK. We've got minus 15 Celsius isotherm coming in from the east, and over the other side of the North Sea, temperatures across Scandinavia, many northern east parts of Europe, down to minus 20, minus 25 at 850 HPA. Really brutal cold, and it would have felt it, of course, with those gale force east winds. And that's how the upper air temperatures looked as Big Ben chimed midnight on the 1st of January 1979. So it was an incredibly cold New Year, to say the least. We've got the minus 5 isotherm, minus 15 isotherm, I should say, through many parts of the country. It goes even colder than that over to the eastern side of the country. That's freezing cold weather that we have going on there, really brutally cold conditions and very snowy as well. Those low pressures have moved off into Central Europe, but we're still bringing in this strong east or northeasterly wind, which would still be feeding in snow, particularly to eastern and southeastern parts of the country. It's 39 years since we had a new year like that. Going to be reaching the 40th anniversary of this snow event next New Year, and some point or other we're going to get a repeat. You never get a total like-for-like situation, but at some point we will get a similar type scenario coming along. It's only a matter of time before that's got to happen. But yeah, if anybody was alive then, I'm sure they still remember those tremendous snow and cold that happened during the new year of 1978, 1979. Just to prove that we can get brutal cold still, well, this is what's going on in America. So we've got a ridge here across central parts of the states heading up in towards Canada. On the eastern side of this ridge, really severe brutal cold has plunged out of Canada and down into many central and eastern parts of America. Those are the upper air temperatures that are currently going on in America. This is how it's going to look at midnight on New Year's Day, so in a few hours' time. Very, very severely cold indeed. We've got the -5 iceberg going right way down into the very far southern states, which is quite unusual. You don't have to go that far north into these central states to find the -10, the -15, and even -20 isotherm. Incredibly cold across many northern and eastern parts of America. This is dangerously cold, really. So, I mean, this is sort of threat to life type conditions that's going on here across many northern, central, and eastern parts of America too. Really brutally cold for this new year over in the United States, or at least away from the western part of the states, which you'll see over in the western states. It is actually quite mild over there, but for many of these eastern, northern and central states, really is brutally cold this new year. And of course, if we can get that kind of cold plunging down into Canada and America, there's no reason why we can't get that plunging through Russia and into Europe. So at some point we're going to get some extremely cold weather. There was extreme cold conditions actually in Europe as early as recently as last winter. It happened to be in the east and the southeast of Europe, but there was brutal cold into Europe even last year. At some point, we're going to get those kind of extreme cold conditions heading into Scandinavia and pushing into Central Europe. Won't necessarily say they'll get to the UK and Ireland, because it's always much more difficult for us. Our weather is kind of, in comparison to this part of America and Canada up in the Pacific Northwest, it's quite difficult to get extreme cold into that part of Canada and the United States. We're in a similar type situation over in the northwest of Europe, perched on the edge of the landmass, but next to the warm ocean. So, anyway, really extreme cold conditions in parts of America at the moment. These cold conditions will continue through the rest of the week as well. The south winds are looking on Thursday very, very cold, brutally cold still across many eastern parts of the states. However, things do moderate a little bit for the coming weekend. So this is the 7th of January when we're starting to find a slight change in the position of the ridge over more towards the eastern seaboard, and that will start to pull up milder southerly winds. So you can see that by the weekend, by 27th, we're forcing those brutally cold upper air temperatures back up towards the Canadian border and up towards Newfoundland, as actually many central states are becoming significantly warmer. Not sure how long that lasts though, because beyond that, this takes us to day 10, which is Wednesday the 10th of January, actually signs of another really cold plunge coming down from Canada, particularly affecting these eastern states. So again, that's the upper air temperatures by the 10th of January, looking very cold again across many eastern parts of the states, but perhaps not quite so severe as it is right now, and certainly not covering as much of the United States as we currently see with this tremendous freeze that's going on there. So again, I'll just take you back to those upper air temperatures. There they are, that they're going to have across America tonight. In contrast, this is how the UK and Europe are looking for New Year. So we've got a traditionally westerly New Year with the winds coming across the Atlantic. The jet stream is to our south, and actually jet stream isn't all that far away, indicated by the black line here. Not all that far away from where it was during the New Year of 1978, 1979. So jet stream is on a southerly track. The difference is that you can see it from the colours up here. We don't have the blocking up around Greenland and to our north to really force the cold air out of the mid-latitudes. We haven't got that. So what we have got is just a westerly flow and a bit of a southerly tracking jet stream. There's the upper air temperatures that we've got across Europe for this new year, and generally it's a mild scene across many parts of Europe, very mild scene, really, particularly for the central and eastern parts of Europe. It is a little bit colder up across Scandinavia, but that's still significantly warmer than you would expect. We really are struggling to get cold weather into Scandinavia this year. Of course, in the UK and Ireland, we haven't done too bad, really, for snow during December. We have had at least 3 snow events, separate snow events, across the UK and Ireland. We've done better than many parts of Europe, even central and eastern parts of Europe so far this winter for snow. But what a difference to 2 continents. That's Europe for midnight on New Year's Day, and that's America for midnight on New Year's Day. Incredible difference between the 2 sides of the Atlantic Ocean this new year. This how central temperature is looking, provisional up to yesterday. So provisionally we're standing at, up to yesterday, 30th of December, we're standing at 5.0, an anomaly of just 0.4 of a degree above average. So a little bit above average. That'll probably tick up a slight, another tenth of a degree, slightly, perhaps, today. It's a reasonably mild day across the CT region. But then there'll probably be a bit of a downwards correction with that. They normally shave off 0.2 or 0.3 of a degree. So in the end, I suspect we are going to finish up underneath 5 degrees for this December. It will probably be the coolest December for a little while, and certainly the most snow that we've had during December, probably since 2010. Obviously nothing like the December to remember in 2010, which was severely cold and very snowy as well. Nothing like that, but it has been a more seasonable month, I'm sure. Most people would agree with that assessment. And the CET is not going to be deviating all that far from the 61 to 1990 average. I should think that's the case for many parts of the UK as well. So when we get the UK-wide figures in, I assume they would tell a similar story. We're not going to have the warmest year on record for 2017. These blue bars here are showing each individual year CET back to the 1700s. Let's just pull out a little bit so you can see where we go back to. So we do go back beyond 1780. I think we go back to about 1750, 1760. Each one of these blue bars is reflecting one individual year's central England temperature. Notice that very low one there. That's the extraordinarily cold year of 1879. And this is where we are right now with this green bar just here. So the warmest year on record is this one, 2014, and then before that it's I think it's that one, which is 2006. So we're under both of those years, and we'll go a little bit further under those years once December's CET comes in as well. So certainly not the warmest year on record, but it is up there with amongst some of the warmest years on record that we've had over the past sort of 25 years. Quite interesting, the trend line here, that's the red line. You'll see that through the 1980s, 1990s into the 2000s, this red line is really trending upwards a lot, and it reaches its peak around 2005, 2006. Just there. Then we had a real drop, a definite drop in the trend took place from 2007 through to around 2013. See how that red line plunges down, particularly focusing on the year of 2010, which was a very cold year, containing a really cold winter for 09-10. and then also the December to remember in December 2010. And so that meant that we came out with our coldest year since around 1986 in 2010. But not just that year, we had several colder years, really, from 2007 through to 2013. But since then, you'll notice that the red line is very much moving back up again. So the trend is very much lifting up, and that's where we are right now. We haven't yet gone back as warm as we was in the middle of the 2000s, early and mid-2000s up to there. We're still underneath that peak, but we're not all that far from it. Another couple of years with the sort of temperatures that we've been having since the second half of 2013, and I would assume we will get back to this level. So it can be critical, actually. 2018 will be a very interesting year where we continue to lift this trend line up. Will we perhaps go even higher than we did during the peak in the 2000s, or will we actually start to lower this red trend line again? Or I suppose we might just flatline roughly at where we are right now. It will be interesting to see how 2018 plays out with its temperatures, most definitely. Right, all that's off on a bit of a tangent. Let's come back to the weather in the more immediate time frame. And these are the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. The red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. And we're a bit above average at the moment, but we're going to go cooler tomorrow. Then on Tuesday, it goes quite warm. A bit up and down with temperatures, really. Signs of a zonal sine wave until the end of the week, after which we have got a cooler period, or a colder, actually, you could say, period, coming up at the end of the week into the weekend. And extending into the second week of January. Let's just show you the dates on the bottom of the chart. There they are. And you'll see that we've got around 5 days, I suppose, of quite cold weather. After that, though, later on, running up towards the middle part of January, the trend does appear to be start to lift temperatures back up a little bit. So this colder weather coming up at the end of the coming week, I think we will get it, and there might be some snow in with it as well over the weekend. Probably won't last one around 4 or 5 days. I mean, it'll probably start turning a little bit milder again, running up to the middle part of the month. It's that kind of winter where it's very much on-off. So cold weather is achievable this winter, but it doesn't look at this stage as though it's really going to lock in and give us a run of very cold weather over several days or weeks, such as we would expect in a classically cold winter. So it's a more seasonable winter, yes, that was expected in the winter forecast, but also expected in the winter forecast was that it wouldn't lock in and be an extended severe run of cold weather lasting for days or weeks, and we're seeing that as well. In terms of precipitation, so quite a lot of rainfall coming up over the next few days, plenty of rainfall spikes. Then with this colder weather just here, we go through a little bit of a drier spell for a few days, and then as the temperature starts to lift up again, let's get rid of all that, so the temperature starts to lift up again around here, and we find the rainfall spikes returning once again as well. It does look like being a very changeable first half to January, quite a lot of wet weather indeed. Temperature anomalies are looking like that for the week ahead. It's a grim scene for anybody that wants cold weather across Europe, exceptionally mild across eastern parts of Europe in particular. For the UK and Ireland, and also for Norway, we continue to be one of the colder places in Europe over the next week. So this is the temperature anomaly for the 31st today of December through to the 8th of January. As that continues to be the case, that in the far northwest of Europe, we are just about the coldest places in Europe to average. So we're not talking about particularly cold conditions at all, but we are talking about comparing to averages. We are one of the cooler places, particularly Norway, and particularly, again, Scotland and Northern Ireland. England and Wales is coming out a little bit milder than average, but not a big deviation, not like the kind of deviation we've got across the majority of Europe. So if you're in the UK and you're fed up with the weather because you want cold and snow, I can assure you it could be a lot worse. Just go to Eastern Europe, and that is how bad things could be. Precipitation anomalies are looking like that for the next week, from the 31st of December to the 8th of January. Generally average to a bit wetter than average, and that's the case for many central northern and western parts of Europe. That's America's temperature anomaly for the weekend. Brutal cold into many central and eastern parts of the states. But wherever one place is cold, another place will be warm. So over in the western states, they're actually having quite a warm time of it. Perhaps California is the place to go if you want to get some winter sunshine. As long as you can afford the airfare, of course. And if we just have a quick look at the precipitation anomaly, so let's come up with that for America. And it looks like this. Many parts of the states are coming out significantly drier than average as well. So this is a 6 o'clock run of the GFS. A midday run is just updated as I'm doing the video, and I'll bring you up to date with that in a few moments as far as we can get with it. That's why I've been filling up a little bit of time, because I wanted to bring you the midday run of the GFS. It is updating as I'm speaking. This is how the 6 o'clock run of the GFS was looking. So we're starting on Thursday, and we've tried to get a little bit of a build of pressure going on up here. We are seeing the colours lifting up a little bit, indicating a little bit of pressure is rising to our north. Got low pressure out to our west. That's probably going to give us quite a stormy day on Thursday. That's how things are looking on Friday, with low pressure moving in from off the Atlantic. There could be severe gales in with that, particularly for Northern Ireland and Scotland. Probably bouts of heavy rain as well. And then that low pressure starts to fill and sink southwards as we go through into next weekend. So this is Saturday the 6th of January, where this low pressure is being pushed southwards. And pressure is rising then up to the north. So we are starting to turn the winds into the east across Scotland. That could be bringing some snow into Scotland on the northern side of this low pressure through the start of next weekend. By the time we go through to Sunday the 7th of January, we've actually got a little bit of a Scandinavian high there. It's a very weak one, but it is there to the south of Scandinavia. The wind's gone into the east. That could be bringing in wintry showers at the very least into eastern parts of the country. It will be quite a cold weekend, I would have thought, next weekend. Those easy winds are maintained to Monday the 8th of January, but we've got a very active looking Atlantic Ocean, very angry around Greenland and Iceland, really strong polar vortex areas of low pressure. So it appears that this Scandinavian high, its days are probably a little bit numbered with such a strong polar vortex going on around Greenland. And what happens is that as we go through the early part of next week, so this is Tuesday the 9th, low pressure is moving in off the Atlantic, forcing this high pressure back into western parts of Russia. Now, as this low pressure comes in, it's running into cold air, so there could be a stall, there could be a little bit of a snow event, but by the time we go through to Wednesday the 10th of January, we're back into those westerly winds, and we're off and running into stormy conditions. That takes us up to day 10, which is Wednesday the 10th of January, and it goes very westerly then later on next week. Just show you the ECMWF, and that's how it was looking on Thursday. So low pressure coming in from off the Atlantic, quite stormy by midnight on Friday with severe gale force winds and bouts of heavy rain too. And then that low pressure, similar to what the GFS is doing, it kind of fills and sinks southwards next weekend. So that's Saturday the 6th. This is Sunday the 7th. The low pressure is moving to our south. That's turning the winds into the east and the northeast. We've been quite cold air, so that could be bringing in wintry showers, particularly to eastern parts of the country. We do get a Scandinavian high going by Monday the 8th. It's quite a weak one, but there is a bit of a ridge over Scandinavia. The winds are coming in from the east. There's some sort of low pressure across southeast parts of England as well that might be doing something a bit wintry. And then we go up towards day 10. This is Tuesday the 9th of January, when we started to bring these weather fronts in from off the Atlantic. Now they're struggling here. They're struggling more than they are on the GFS. So that's how we look at day 10, which is Wednesday the 10th of January. And instead of that Scandinavian high being forced back to western Russia, it's actually still there, centred across Scandinavia, albeit the Atlantic is breaking through, so it's turning a bit milder in the west. But that sort of scenario does suggest the potential for a bit of a snow event from Tuesday to Wednesday next week, because the fronts really are struggling to push eastwards, and that's why the Scandinavian high is maintained over Scandinavia rather than being forced back into western parts of Russia. So obviously there's some uncertainty about how quickly the Atlantic will start to get back in through the course of next week. Let's just have a look at the midday run of the GFS before we go, see how far we can get with it. So this is at 96 hours on Thursday, looking unsettled, low pressure starting to move in from off the Atlantic. I'm going to see how far in we can get. So that's how it's looking on Friday. Remember, this is updating as we're speaking. So on Friday, low pressure swinging in, bringing heavy rain, gale force winds. Notice heights are rising up to the north and the west. This looks like it's going to bring us a colder weekend next weekend anyway. That's Saturday, the 6th of January, with the low pressure starting to fill and slip southwards. Pressure's rising up towards Iceland, so the winds are going into the northeast. The Scotland could be bringing some wintry weather through to the north. That's how the midday run of the GFS, as we're speaking, is looking for Sunday, the 7th of January. And again, we have got the winds going into the east. It's not a particularly cold easterly wind, but it would probably be enough. You'd have to wait until close to the time frame really to determine how cold it would be. It would probably be enough to feed in some wintry showers to eastern parts of the country as well. Let's see if we can get any further with this. So we go up to Monday the 8th of January. Atlantic's not looking quite as active here actually around Greenland and Iceland. The purple colours are there, but it's not looking quite as intense with the polar vortex. So up to Monday the 8th of January, we're still maintaining those easterly winds. They are quite cold winds. Probably not in terms of the upper level, but down on the surface, I would have thought they're likely to be quite cold. Actually, we can have a look at the dew points. So, I mean, not particularly cold in terms of the dew points, really. We have got cold conditions across northern Germany and Denmark, and particularly southern Scandinavia. They're struggling to get those cold surface temperatures over to us. If we could run on another day with those easterly winds, maybe we would start to infiltrate those colder winds. Remember, it's a little way off though, so the model is going to be struggling to determine how cold those east winds are, and that's as far as we can get to it really. That hasn't updated for the next day, about 216 hours. That's still showing Saturday. So that's as far as we can get with this midday run of the GFS. If we could run on a few more days, I suspect this high pressure would collapse and we'd bring the Atlantic back in. So we probably are going to turn things colder in the coming weekend. It may last a few days, but I suspect as we go further in towards the middle part of January, we might start seeing the Atlantic coming back. It may turn rather stormy as well, but of course that is still all some way off, and we've got to determine that. Right, so that's it. That's the final video of the year. All that remains is for me to wish you all a very happy new year, and again say thank you for watching the videos over the past 12 months, coming back to the website, reading the written posts, and watching the videos. Big thank you to everybody for supporting what we're doing at Gazzovids. And videos will continue, of course, next year, and they'll continue back tomorrow. We'll have the next instalment for you coming up on New Year's Day, so come back tomorrow to see what's happening then. And all it remains is to say Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year. Thanks for watching.